Greetings to everyone. It's good to be here in another live, reaching out to all you lovely people who be trusting in the message of self-realization and understanding the power of the mind and how imagination creates reality. That's the reason why I'm doing this Q&A for those who would have been with me with the Bible studies, where we were looking into the book of St. John and was going through St. John chapter 1 and teaching how imagination creates reality and how the Bible is a spiritual autobiography that must be interpreted psychologically. So it's really a joy, it's really a blessing to be here and reaching out to each and every one. I have 2 questions that would have already been asked, and I have them written down here, and I would like to get into them in a while, but I'm waiting on others to join the chat, and then I'm gonna just answer those questions. And as the question come to you, you can feel free to ask whatever question you have to ask. So I'm just holding a while for those who join the chat. Okay. And the first question comes from Natural by Nature. And this is the question: can you talk about how important it is to move around in nature, or just from being stagnant when manifesting? Okay, this person is asking a question concerning about when you're using your imagination, how important it is for you to be connected with nature or walking around being in nature. Now, it's very important for us to be connected because we are both electrical and magnetic. And when we take off our shoe and we go outside and we connect our feet with the soil, we are in connection from the sole of our feet to the crowning of our head to all the electrical waves that are there in the universe. So we are more in tune with our electrical self when we are in nature, and more so when we are bare feet, we are more connected, we are more grounded. It's called grounding. Okay, so it's very important if you're gonna go on the outside to use your imagination to create your reality, or if you're going to go in nature to meditate, it is very important for you to get grounded or for you to be well connected in nature. Okay, so even if you just taking a walk and so on, it would be better if you can find yourself in an area whereby you can really take your shoe off and really be grounded. Okay? And then he asks about being stagnant or just being in one place. Now, it is very important that you sit with your back just like this, okay, in alignment with your backbone. Your backbone must be in, your spine should be in alignment with the rest of your body, and you should be well centered, okay, when you're doing your imaginal acts, whether you're doing your imaginal acts seated or you're doing it lying. It is very important. And using breathing is very important, but you have to breathe from your diaphragm, okay? Because when you breathe from your diaphragm, you'll be able to activate that power from the sacral chakra, which is the lower chakra, And that power is basically the sexual power. And you'll be able to activate that power when you're meditating and sitting in the seated posture, and you will get that energy to move upward using your imagination. So it's very important for you to really align your spine properly when you're meditating and you're in one place. It's very, very important that you can move the energy upwards. Okay. Um, when I had my awakening experience, it's like when you're having an orgasm, but it's coming downwards, it's taking place upwards, and as if impregnation is taking place the same time, and you're bringing forth a baby the same time. It's like everything is taking place one time, like there is no time. That's how it do happens. And that's why I know that how powerful that the sexual energy is. Okay, so whether you are walking in nature or you're just sitting, whenever you're going into meditation or visualization, always be mindful that you can bring that energy from down below and focus that energy upwardly and outwardly into the universe. So just to recap, that I am just answering this question from Natural by Nature, who asked this question: can you talk about how important it is to move around in nature, or just from being stagnant when manifesting? Also, I want to mention to how important it is for you to have fresh air, oxygenated air, so you can have oxygenated blood, because you'll be breathing in more oxygen. That is why you go to practice mindful breathing. And when you practice mindful breathing just before meditation, is going to calm you down and help you to focus and concentrate even more. Okay, so you can actually use your imagination to manifest anywhere, out in nature, or you can do it at home, just seated or just lying. Okay, so I think I would have answered that question. There's another question, and this question is coming from Crystal Rose. Okay, and the question is, why does it feel like we are predestined to live a life chosen for us? Let me answer, because it's a two-part question. Let me answer this first part, where this person is asking about predestination and why it feels as if we've been predestined. Now, each and every one of us have been given a choice, and we can choose whatever path we want to take in this life. Because if to say that we were predestined, it means we are operating just like robots and that we do not have a choice, but we do have a choice. And we come here for a purpose, and we are to seek to know what is that purpose that we've been sent here for, and use that which you would have gathered to prove that that is truly the purpose you came here for. And when you really find your purpose or the true meaning of life, one thing that you would realize is that we are all connected, that we are all one, and that whenever we use our imagination to create our reality consciously, there are a series of events that will take place to prove that we are all connected. So sometimes there might be a person who living thousands of miles away from you, and they might be the answer to that which you are desiring, or they might give you direction to find someone who might help you in that area, or give you direction that will help you to expand whatever you're doing. And I'm speaking from experience. Okay, so we all have an entrance and we all have an exit, but our total life here haven't been predestined. We have been given a choice. Everyone have been given a choice. And also, it was our own choice also to come here to have the experience. We were the ones who actually choose, our parents actually choose where we want to live and all of that. We did it, but we forget. That is why our consciousness, when our consciousness has come to that awakening stage, it would bring us to a place of remembrance. It would give us an innate ability to certain wisdom that you just cannot know intellectually. That is why experience is the greatest teacher. Okay, so to answer this person question concerning predestination, let me say we all have been given a choice, and you are the one who have to decide where or what direction you're going to take your life by the things that you will choose to do. That's why we are being given a choice. Okay, and also we've been given mind and speech over the animals and the rest of the living things on this earth. Therefore, it proves that we can create and we can destroy with our thoughts or our mind. Okay, so it's all about choice. It's not predestination, it's all about choice. So we all been given a choice. Then the person goes on to ask, when you try to think of how you want your life to be, it's so foreign, which means she's saying here that it is very strange because it's not your reality. She's saying that's not your reality. When you try to think of how you want your life to be, it's so foreign because it's not your reality. So how do I keep on imagining even when years go by and nothing ever changes for you? Now, one of the reasons why people would say that they've been using their imagination and things haven't been happening for them, many times a person will do sometimes one imaginary act and they are waiting to get the results. And many times your intuition will be speaking to you and giving you ideas. And if you never act on those ideas, you would miss the mustard seed principle. You would miss that thing that you want to desire, and you would never see it happen in your life. And you fail to realize that you are the one who's blocking your manifestation. Because when you use your imagination to create your reality, you're not supposed to be looking for that thing because you already have it. Now, when you already have something, you don't continue looking for it. Let me put it in a simple term, okay, so you will understand. When a man and a woman is in the act of sex, when the woman reaches to her highest point and satisfaction has been reached, you no longer feel that kind of desire until a certain amount of time would have passed. So too with a man, when you reach that place of release and everything, all of that hunger and all of that drive is ceased for a while. Because you've come into your Sabbath. You've been going through the act of creation because it is the act of creation. So when the act of creation is finished, and you say it is good, which means you reach your place of satisfaction, you come into rest. You no longer have the desire. That's your Sabbath. So what happened? You have to act as if it is already so when you use your imagination to create your reality. So you don't go looking for that thing. It's like a farmer. When a farmer sows the seed in the soil, the farmer do not go back every day and looking to see if they're going to be growth. The farmer planted with faith and knowing that all he has to do is to wait for a harvest time But in between, he would need to remove the weeds and so on from around his crop. Okay? But for his crop to grow, the farmer doesn't decide that. The farmer has faith that rain is going to fall, and the farmer has the faith that the sun is going to shine. Okay? So you too, when you use your imagination to create your reality, you don't go looking and wondering why this thing is not happening. No, this is what I do. When I use my imagination for one thing, and I carry to a certain length of time, let's say I carry for 21 days, I carry for 30 days. When I drop that, I go on to something else. And I carry for a period of time again, and then I drop it, and I go on again. So many times I literally forget things that I would have imagined. I've had experience where I would have imagined something, and it is when it has already been fulfilled. One day we were cleaning, and I found a piece of paper because I didn't write it down in a book. I just when the idea came to me, I just wrote it on a random piece of paper, and I found the paper, and it was the 19th of the first month, 2019, and by the middle of the year, I would have already accomplished that goal, and I didn't realize it, and it was something that I had to be qualified for, and something I had to make a certain amount of sales for before I could have been approved. And then the first time I made the sales, but there's something I did wrong and I had to do it over again. The second time I made the sales again, and something was wrong again. I had to do it over. I think I did it up to about 4 to 5 times, and the last time we had everything right, and then we was approved, but we was actually making the sale that we were supposed to make to be approved. But that imaginal act was done the 19th of the first month, 2019, and it took me some months later, and I did forget, totally forget. Hadn't it been that I found a piece of paper that I would have written it on, I would not have remembered. So when you use your imagination to create your reality, you cannot be going around and keeping that memory. You have to get into other imaginal acts all the time. So all throughout the year, you're supposed to have so much desires for so much things you want to manifest, that when you finish carrying on the process of doing your imaginal act and use your repetition over and over in the morning and in the night, especially before you go to bed, and you do that for a number of time. Sometimes some people just let go a little bit too quick. Sometimes you need to go at least 21 days. Sometimes I'll go to 27 days. I remember one time I was doing an imaginal act and I went to 40 days. Then I leave it alone. So then you do that and you keep continuing all the time, and I guarantee you that you would forget. You will literally forget some of those things that you did desire. So while I'm here speaking, if you have any question, feel free to comment with your question. I'll be willing to answer. Okay. Greetings to Rashid G, nice having you, and Ewan McLaughlin. Long time, my brother. Nice to have you in the chat also. Okay, so if you have any question, okay, especially if you've been following me with the Bible studies that we've been doing concerning St. John chapter 1, which is basically teaching of how you can create your reality by using your imagination, and understand the creation story is your spiritual autobiography that you must interpret it must be interpreted psychologically. Okay, that's what we was really teaching about. So let me just finish this posing question, Crystal Rose question. So I covered the second part to show why some people do believe that they're using the imagination and nothing is happening, because they keep looking for it. So you can't just do one imaginal act and just sit down on it and relax. No, when you don't do an imaginal act for a certain amount of time, it'll lead you, drop it, and move on to something else. Once you move on to something else and you keep that pattern, you will forget. you will forget. Okay? And then when it happens in your life, then you will realize that truly your imagination do create reality. That's why it's very important to write it down. Write it down and make it happen. And let me give you a very important scripture, right, to verify what I'm saying to you about writing it down. And it's in Habakkuk. Habakkuk chapter 2. But I love to read Habakkuk chapter 1, verses 1 to 3, before I read Habakkuk 2, chapter 2, right down to verses 3 also. Because it would teach you that when you really have a need and when you really have a desire and you are asking, that how the answer would come and how you would know that what you've been asking for, that the answer really would have come, and it give you a law. It's a law that is written. They give you a law to walk by. It say write it on tables or write it on paper. Let me put it in that term. Because I say table with tablets. It's a written tablet, but it means not just the tablet of your heart, not just in your subconscious mind, but write it down literally so you can actually see it. That is why they can use television for programming people's mind, because you can remember a movie that you would have looked at, say, 15 years ago, 20 years ago, because why? You see and you remember, and you hear, and most of the time you forget. So you say, write it down, make it plain, which means you have to be definite about what you want. You have to go down to the details. You see, sometimes a person might desire something, but they do not think about the outcome of that thing that they might desire. Let's say they desire money, but they never think about, what about if I have money and I do not have good health? So a person might be imagining that they have an X amount of money, but they never think about good health. So they get the money, and then some bad health or something happen, and they have to give all of that to a doctor or whoever. You understand? So it is very good for you to go right down to detail. So Habakkuk chapter 2 tells you to go to detail and write it down. And it tells you that it is a law. But it said the way how the law works is that it have a time frame. The time frame is not your problem. It's not for you to worry about. He said just write it down. And he said, though it tarries, you must wait, because for an appointed time. You can't decide the time. And that's why some people believe that they've been using their imagination and nothing happening for them. And nothing never changes. So, Crystal Rose, I hope I answer your question here. Let me just read the last part of what she was saying here. She also said, imagination creating reality is only a theory. You see, she said no, that it's only a theory. I have yet to prove works. I'm not imagining my current state. It's happening to me. So this person say things just automatically happening to them. The thing just happened to them like that. No. There's no coincidence. Everything is cause and effect. There could never be an effect and there wasn't a cause. Many times we imagine things, we think about things, we dwell upon them, and we forget them because we're very forgetful. That's why Habakkuk chapter 2 tells you to write it down. Write down the vision. Write down the thing you're going to visualize. And know that it is a law. Habakkuk chapter 2 even tell you, it is sure. It is sure. So when I say it is sure, it is telling it's a law. It's just like the law of reproduction, that every seed and every species would always reproduce after its own kind. And no scientist could change that. No one could change that. It's an immutable law. So this person is getting a little bit of confusion because maybe they are, as I was saying, maybe this person was anxious. Maybe this person is doing just one imaginary act and waiting for it to manifest. Okay? Just keep imagining, as I was saying, and just after a certain time, just drop it and continue with something else. Okay? And sometimes some people don't do it because sometimes some people don't even know what they want. You need to know exactly what you want. When you know what you want, you will never run out of things that you so desire. Because it's all about service. Because the more value you want in your life, you have to give more value. It's a law of exchange. It's called the law of compensation in the Bible. It says you must give and it will come back to you. Good measure, pressed down, shaken together, and running over, men give into your bosom. It ain't talking about just giving them money and so on, like religious people do in churches and so on. They never get any result because they give it with the wrong understanding. You have gifts, you have talents, and so on. And there are gifts and talents that are hidden in you. And if you never go into visualization and trust in your imagination, you'll never find those gifts and talents that are in you. I'm speaking from experience. So this person says, let me just go on and finish this person question here and then check, see who else have any other questions. Say, imagination creating reality is only a theory. That's the person. I don't know if this person came up on law of attraction and so on, because some people they come up on law of attraction and so on, and they have plenty expectation and they never really realize that law of attraction didn't really tell them everything, and law of attraction had a little bit of agenda with it too. Okay, a lot of things were hidden. Okay, so he says only a theory I have yet to prove works. So this person have never proven it, and they're thinking, well, is that it doesn't work, when they are the ones who probably blocking it. I'm not imagining my current state. It's happening to me. So that person said it just happens. Life just happens like that. I'm saying no. Remember, there's cause and effect. Okay. He said, like when people that fall into a coma, they live hooked up to machines. They aren't imagining themselves that way. Are they? My sister, Krista Rose, many times people imagine or think about sickness. They speak about it. But even though they do not go down to the detail of they fall into a coma or they hanging, just because of an imaginary act or because of an assumption. For example, a person could be looking at a movie and see something in a movie and they use such an emotion and get so deep into it, and they create that kind of fear, and they're always fearful that they wouldn't like this thing to happen to them. And just because they're thinking that they do not want it to happen, they're actually attracting it. That's why you have to think about what you want instead of thinking of what you don't want. If a person is very fearful of being sick and so on, then they can fall sick. But it doesn't, when you think that way, you do not know how the sickness is gonna come, and you do not know what position you're gonna put you in. A person do not have to think of themselves having a coma to end up in a coma. They just have to think about sickness. So, my sister, it is always important to think on the positive things. It is always important to think on the things that would more uplift and build. Okay? Do not think about sickness, period. That's why some people, they so, I remember, let me put it this way. I remember I tried to speak to a lady who I used to speak to all the time, and she was literally running from me because corona, and this woman is a Christian woman, literally running from me. It was an embarrassing moment in the city. The woman literally ran from me because I didn't have on a mask and she has on a mask. That's the power of fear. And most people fail to realize when you're trying to avoid something that is negative, you're actually attracting it. Just think on the things that you want, the things that are going to make you happy, the things that are going to uplift you. So, I think I would have answered those two questions that were sent to me before. Let me see if anyone have any question here. I see my brother Ewan say, I've read all 8 books, recommended all of them, ordering 66 books of magic soon. Thank you very much. And with that being said, I want to say how good I normally feel when I'm reading the Bible now and I see that blank space with no Jesus, and I can write I am. Can write I am. As I was saying to someone today, even the Chinese man, even if the Chinese man have to say yin chang yang yang to mean I am, it's saying the same thing. Because you have to say, if you're gonna say I am rich or I am poor, whether you say yin chang yang yang or whatever, he's saying the same thing because that's our name. I am is our name. From generation to generation, it doesn't matter which language a person speaks in. If they're gonna say I am rich, I am poor, again, let's start already, check and see. It's okay? Okay, whether they're rich, they're gonna say I'm rich, I am poor, doesn't matter which language they say it in. If you confess that you're poor, you will be poor. Doesn't matter which language you have found riches in your life. It would come into fruition if you believe it strongly enough. That is why you're told ask, and it will be given. Some people do not know what they want, so they do not know what to ask for. Some people do not ask for health. Do you realize how important it is to be healthy? I'd rather be healthy and don't have no money, because if I'm healthy, it will help me to attract money. But you realize when you're unhealthy, even if you have money, taking the money away from you. So your health should be first. That's why one of my mantras is, I am happy, I am healthy, I am wealthy, and I am wise. Very important. Use them, my brother, message. I am happy, I am healthy, I am wealthy, I am wise. Okay? I see my brother here, and I remember one time I would have read his testimony that he would have sent to me. He said, I am living proof your teaching work. And he put this teaching into work, which is my brother right here, Ewan McLaughlin, in his acting career, and see it work. It do work. And most of the time, sometimes when you hardly have any knowledge about this thing, it do work for you because you would use your imagination and forget. But when people get so caught up in seeing if it really works and seeing if the thing gonna manifest, sometimes they miss the ideas. Sometimes your intuition is telling you, write an application here, write an application there. Sometimes your intuition is telling you, click on that. And you're not listening to your intuition. So sometimes people not listening to their intuition. They're looking for more manifestation more than listening. Do you realize listen and to go into the silence is actually the same thing? Because when you go into meditation or visualization, you're going into the silence. You're going to listen. You're going to listen to your God self. Your God self speaking to you. So too, when you want to carry out that which you so desire, and you want to see it manifest and so on, he just be speaking to you. Because the infinite in you don't ever sleep. He's the dreamer in you. He don't really sleep. He's the dreamer in you, all speaking to you. That is why it is very important for you to go to bed consciously with your goals and your dream, because that's the time that it will be sealed. Your instruction will be sealed. Job 33 give you that secret. You can read it for yourself. In your Bible, Job 33, I'm not going to tell you the verse, because if I tell you the verse, you might just take it just like that. But if I tell it in Job 33, you will go and read Job 33 and you'll find it. And if I say, yeah, I see what you're talking about. How you should go to bed. Because you're going from the third dimension into the fourth dimension. Therefore, you have to think four-dimensionally. That is why you're told, I think in St. John chapter 4, that they that worship God must worship God in spirit and in truth. Those of us who would believe and trust our imagination and embrace our imagination, embrace our higher self, embrace our inner teacher, our inner guide. We are the ones who come to realize what it is speaking about when it says that we must worship God in spirit and in truth. I've never been more happy than I am now, because I know who I can trust. Some people say they trust in Jesus. And they think of a man 2,000 years ago. But I know that's my I amness. Because I know true salvation is self-realization. And some people do not even know that Jesus actually means I am salvation. It is your I am salvation. It's all about your I am salvation. It's all about you. Your biography, my brothers and my sisters. Many of us, we know of, right now we know of Elon Musk. We know of Tesla, where his line, okay, his vehicles and so on. We know about PayPal. All of those things come from him. They are, but your idea, they came from an idea. Such a people have to believe so much in their intuition that when they have an idea, that they're willing to act on that idea. You see? So you have to have such a strong self-belief and understand positive self-image psychology that you would build a personal relationship with God, your higher self, your inner self. Many people that say about building personal relationship with God. I know when I don't listen to my intuition, that's when I just go wrong. I know that. When you build a serious relationship with your intuition, you realize your intuition will go wrong, you know. It's when you go against your intuition, you say the wrong thing. Why do you think some people get scammed on the internet? And I'm talking about experience that happened to me one time. Some people are afraid to talk and they get scammed on the internet because I refuse to listen to my intuition. My intuition want me. I say, oh. I tell my girl, I say, look, I ain't gonna do this thing. And then I end up and I go listen to a webinar. I get carried away. I refuse to listen to my intuition and it teach me. So I know what I'm telling you. Your intuition is the inside teacher. That's God in man. Get connected to God. Have a real relationship, a real true personal relationship with God. Okay? So as we see here, as my brother Iwan McLaughlin mentioned, he's a proof. Okay, and as I said before, I would have done a video where I would have read his email that he would have sent to me concerning those bookings he had in his acting and so on. Okay, let me see this person here before he goes up anymore. He said, my goal, Elisa Bianchi, I hope I'm pronouncing the name right. My goal is to improve my finances situation, I guess a financial situation. I have spent the last 3 years focusing on this, I guess they're gonna put goal, visualizing, scripting, affirming, but has changed. How can I make my desire to be my reality? Okay? Your imagination.
She made the correction below.
Oh, the correction is below. Okay. Okay, nothing has changed. Okay, yeah, see the correction now. Yeah. Imagination is actually the only reality. So if you hear me say imagination creates reality, or you hear me say consciousness is the only reality, it's the same thing I'm actually saying. So therefore, when you trust your imagination, which is actually real, and the only thing that is real, and the other things are imaginary, you are actually trusting the creator. And out of the creator comes creation. Therefore, whenever you do an imaginary act, you have to realize that it is on a certain frequency. So when you get into that vibrational frequency, sometimes you can vibrate. It happens to me a lot. When I'm visualizing meditation, I realize my heart, whenever the Bible speaks about the heart, it is speaking about the subconscious mind. Okay? So I allow my heart to connect with my brain. I imagine right? That my heart is connected with my brain, and the energy is going up and down and communicating. And many times I have vibrations, vibrate heavily. I remember one time I was doing an imaginary act on the bed, and my girlfriend was telling me the whole bed was actually literally shaking. So the law of vibration is real. So what happens, as I said before, many times when people do imaginary act, they are looking for the thing to happen. The thing already happened. It already happened. So if this person been listening long enough, they would have heard me mention, because I see they mention scripting. All the people who teach about scripting, they're failing to tell you that it comes from Habakkuk chapter 2. So whoever you are, read Habakkuk chapter 2, and you see it's a law. Do not go against the law once you do your scripting. If there is any blockage, maybe you need to lift your vibration. One of the things that can block a person is unforgiveness. If you want to create things in this world, you have to clear your mind of all doubt, all fear, unforgiveness, hatred, envy, malice, all kind of judgment. You have to clear your mind of those things. That's why I don't judge the homosexuals, I don't judge the lesbians, I don't judge no one, because I have a better understanding of how the mind works, and a better understanding of my higher self and my lower self. And that gave me strength. And so that kind of love, it makes me more powerful, and it makes me more happy, and it makes me more focused. So sometimes a person might not see manifestation because the same energy that they're using to have hatred, envy, malice, and they say the same energy that you create with. So you don't have a fountain that brings bitter water and sweet water at the same time. Okay? So sometimes, most of the time, you see things that manifest, check yourself. You see gossiping too? Gossiping is another blocker that can block you. Also, watch what you're eating too, because certain foods, you understand, can help you, can mess up the system so much that you don't have focus enough. Because I'm speaking from experience, because if I eat certain kind of food, it will mess with my stomach. And when it messes with my stomach, I can't focus properly. And a very important thing too, in the night, if you're gonna eat light. You wanna go to bed light. You don't wanna go to bed too heavy. Okay? And always go to bed with your intentions. I mean, sometimes you just fall asleep just like that. But always try to be conscious as the day coming to a close. Be conscious. Hey, I have to go to sleep. But before I go to sleep, I want to use my imagination towards what I want. The last thing must be on my mind is that which I want to create before I fall asleep. And sometimes you have dreams. Like last night I was in the company of a lot of rich people. I was in the company of a lot of rich people. Okay, so it's very important. Okay, let me see what this person is saying here. Greetings. You claim that God equals imagination. Does that exclude the common picture of God as a benevolent intelligence or power beyond human comprehension, creating and guiding the universe? Now, just to answer your question, there's nothing greater than life. And I see God as life and life as God. And you cannot separate God from life, or life from God. Because if a person can separate God from life, or life from God, tell me who God is. Because if you say God gave life, then it means God gave himself. Because God is life. There's nothing higher than life. And then the Bible says in Psalms 82 that we are God, but nevertheless, we're going to die like men. And based on my experience that I would have had, I would like someone to tell me, how can a man vibrate so heavily and awake within himself like a fiery being? I would have heard an unearthly wind and change form and come out through his skull and pull the rest of himself from his skull with his like imaginary hand, I would say, right? And become invisible. And then I had another scene when he was just like a baby hook up to this great magnet, like a mother hook, like a child hooked up to a mother with the navel string. How could that happen? And then after that experience, his intelligence level come to another, his intelligence come to another level. It's like your IQ come to another level. And how could they write in the Bible the upper room experience in Acts 2? And it does, and no one who said speaking in tongues ever had that kind of experience, literally. But I can go back and tell you about the vibration. I can tell you about the mighty rushing wind. I can tell you about being a fiery being. So I know when they say tongues of cloven fire was over their head, I know what he's talking about. When you talk about the wind, I know what he's talking about. And I have all this experience. And when you talk about the death, the burial, and the resurrection, I know because when I had the experience and that eye opening me, then I know actually we are asleep and we are having a dream. And we are God dreaming this life and having this experience. There is no creator outside of us because the kingdom of God is within us, and the kingdom of God is the kingdom of your mind. That is why everything that you would have written right here, it was for us to thought, it was for us to imagine. Because while you have life, you have God. There's no outside God. When you look at the earth around you, you're beholding an outer projection of that which is within you. And it is so simple to see it. Now we are living in a digital age, and you can look at a flash drive and you see everything that is downloaded in the flash drive, and you can look at a computer and see everything that's downloaded in the computer, and it have a memory. Okay, it have a CPU. The central processing unit is a replica of a man. And the Bible tells you in Ecclesiastes, I think, chapter 3 and verses 11, that God has placed eternity in the mind of man. But remember, everything is parabolic. It's all parables. Everything is in you. The Akashic record is in you. Everything is recorded in you. About experience that went back into past life. So there's no outside God. They say, doesn't your assumption or recognition of God being solely the imagination exclude that God and thus renders him? And why are you saying a him? Why not her? So God is not a woman? It is him, incapable in some form. Maybe our imagination is just a way of God to reveal himself. I like how we use the word himself, because imagination is God himself. That is God himself, because imagination is consciousness. You see, when you have an out-of-body experience and you are existing as just pure consciousness, but you become one with the wind and everything around you disappear, and you realize that everything is imaginary, it's a different story. It can only be known by experience. There's no outside God, my brother. There's only God in the world. You're just having a human experience. Is it intuition or creation? I'm trying to understand what this person is saying. Is it intuition or creation? Your intuition is the inside teacher that's God in you. That's God. Right? The creation is the things that you create. Okay? That's why everything in the world comes from imagination. That is why even in the Bible it tells you that God said let there be and there was. It's all about you. And you can speak your life into being to how you want it to be. Okay, you can speak things into reality. That's why it's teaching you. But it's in a parabolic form. That's why when you have a desire, and you walk upon that desire and the thing manifests, you no longer have the desire because the creation is finished. That's why I say God finished from his work and then he went into what? The Sabbath. You come into rest, you no longer have the desire, and it just happened in the process of sex, as I said before. And sex is the creation process. And when you have a desire, burning desire is a spiritual sensation. And when you go through putting the actions and everything together, and then you have the manifestation, it is from a thought to action to manifestation. That is sex, impregnation, and then you get the results, okay, which is the manifestation. So you see it in our very life. Everything is actually connected. So you have to see it psychologically too. So when you want to manifest something, it's a spiritual sexual act. You have to see it as a spiritual sexual act. So we have the physical to show us the spiritual and the spiritual to show us the physical. Everything connects. That's why sex is more, it's mental. It's not as physical as people think it is. It's more mental. And that's why you can use it to create. And it's the most powerful thing to use to create your reality consciously. That is why unconsciously people use their imagination. They use when they're in that act, and they use their imagination for all different kind of things. Especially if they're feeding on all different kind of things. If they're feeding on a certain porn star, and she's a female, they'll be thinking about she too. You understand? Because we are in the creation mode. When you come into that feeling creation mode to create, just like when you have a strong feeling and a strong desire to have something in this world, it's a spiritual sexual act you're doing to create. Ryan Jones, hi, I am late. My question is, I still have trouble getting into the feeling. Okay, there's some people who claim that they just have trouble getting into the feeling, okay? A person like that, what they can do, they can use scripting. Make sure you read, and I like to do it in front of a mirror. I don't know, I love the mirror, okay? I love the mirror, okay? Because I always ask myself, how is it I can go in the mirror and I can see that reflection? I can see that shadow man. You know what I mean? I always look at that reflection and say, that's God in man. That's the invisible me. That is teaching me I have an invisible and I'm invisible. I'm invisible and I am visible. And I've had experience that prove that. Okay, and that is how when I had the experience of invisible and visible and invisible, I come to realize what they really mean when they say mind over matter. I realize that everything actually comes from spirit to matter. Yes, everything is mental. Okay? So you can do scripting. I mentioned Habakkuk chapter 2. Read Habakkuk chapter 2 and you'll see the surety it gives you about scripting. Many people teach people about scripting, but they don't go into the scripture and show them that the secrets are all there. Say it over and over and over. Use repetition. Repetition will help to bring it into the feeling. That's why I love to go into the mirror. When I go in the mirror, I'll be laughing, I'll be smiling, I'll be doing all of these things in the mirror, I'll play with myself, I'll have joy in the mirror. When I now started, I used to feel strange going in front of the mirror. To go in front of the mirror and look at yourself and tell yourself how much you love yourself, sometimes it could be a strange feeling to do so. So do that. Use the mirror. Try use the mirror and use scripting. And use a lot of repetition until you come into that feeling. And the feeling is not just an emotional feeling, it's a knowing. It's a knowing. When you do this thing over and over and over and over and over, it will give you that knowing. That knowing is really the feeling. The knowing. And you know. You have a God, you ever say, I have a God feeling? You know. That's what I'm talking about. Say thank you, so, Elisa. Okay, thank you very much. What is the verse of the Bible that is explaining scripting? Oh, it's Habakkuk. Habakkuk chapter 2. I'm just saying chapter 2 because I wanted to read it. Okay? Because you wouldn't need to read 5 in Habakkuk chapter 2 to see it. Because when you read verses 1, 2, and 3, by that time you should see it. Okay? And it's actually a law. It is a law. It's just like sowing and reaping. Once the germ of life is in that seed, it's going to bring forth. It's a law. It's just that people just don't. Some people are so hurried. Some people are so anxious. I don't be anxious for anything. I just act, since I know myself, I'm always like a kind of laid back kind of person. You know what I mean? And sometimes people used to term it as lazy, but I always believe that we didn't come in this earth to work so hard and labor so hard. I never did believe it. So when I was a boy, I just today I was telling somebody that when I was a boy and we used to have to go in the mountain to jog wood to bake an outside oven. I used to be the only one crying. I used to be crying because to me it was unfair. It's like life wasn't supposed to be like that, working so hard, and I come to realize that the people who just work the hardest, they save the less. You're supposed to think more and work less. Think more. The more you use your mind, it will bring you in a place that you'll be so organized that after a while you'll be relaxing and still making money and still doing good in your life. One thing too, never take your expense too high. Even if you make more money, keep the expense down there. Sometimes people want to bring a big chair set and they don't really need it. Sometimes people want to buy a certain vehicle, they don't need it. I see people in my country, they have one job. They live so close to Kingston, which is the capital. And they will buy a vehicle because they want to live up to the Joneses. I don't believe in that. So always, even if you make more money, keep your expenses as low. Okay? Sometimes people want brand shoes, brand clothes. What's somebody name brand name again? Like the ladies back in Gucci, yeah. Gucci and all of these things. Jordan and all of that. I don't care. I was going to cheap store here and buy Syrian shoes and things. Instead of going to buy a shoe for $400 and $500 and $300 buying cheap shoes. And say something. I want to say something, you might be able to buy stocks. Many of us has used Amazon. You might be able to save enough that could buy even 1 or 2 or 3 stocks in Amazon. You see, so it's all about this, my brother, my sisters. We have to use this more. Let me see some other comment here. Natasha tell, if you imagine you without skin, imagine how you...
You missed a comment, Angela.
Oh, I missed a comment? Angela, what was it?
You have to put down the screen.
Let me see. No.
This
Yeah.
one.
Where is
Push
it?
up a bit.
Have it?
Put this up a bit.
That's what I'm doing.
No, not this. What the little...
Which one? Which one? I'm seeing the one with Angela up here, but I didn't get to see it.
Backline.
Okay, Angela, dream of some wounds on my child and bugs coming out. Okay. Now we are told that if we would be like a child, that we would be great. So child have to basically do with the mind. Okay. And sometimes we still alive?
Yes, we are.
Okay. Sometimes we can have wounds and healing with our thoughts. Okay, so it is teaching you here that you have to be mindful of what is coming out from your thoughts. Make it things that will build you, things that will elevate you. Okay, so you're dealing with your thoughts and the things that you would think upon, basically. That's what I'm saying from that. What happened there?
Reload the page.
You, huh?
I reload the page. You're like,
I'm still.
Yes. Oh, I told you I reload the page.
Oh, because you, okay. So yeah, because when you read about child in the Bible, it's basically dealing with the mind. When you say like if you be like a child and so on, you more depend on your intuition, you depend on the leadership, you depend on guidance, because a child will always depend on leadership and guidance. So it is very important to know all of that. Okay, so that's basically how I'm seeing that. Okay, right now let me see the other comments here. So I was at Latisha.
Angela. After Angela.
After Angela, well, I don't finish Angela here. Without skin, focus is your currency. Pay attention. Pay attention with your focus. Think without skin, and building will greet you. Without skin, if you can think that way permanently, all things will speak to you, like your food, spoon, tray, etc. If God shows up, everything responds. I don't quite understand that. I don't know if she using some terminology there or what, but I don't quite understand. I don't quite understand that one. Okay, let me see, things come alive without skin. Oh, I think I understand. Even words have personality and character, yeah, traits like us without skin. Oh, I understand now. Just mimic God. Okay, yeah, I understand now. I understand. Yes, just like we, as this person is saying here, we have skin and so on, and we have certain traits and so on. So two thoughts, this manifests itself like that too. So I understand. Yes, I do understand. That's truth. Okay, explain Matthew 6:33. Okay, Matthew 6:33 says that seek ye first the kingdom of God's righteousness, and all these things will be added unto you. Now, when you read Matthew chapter 6 itself, you see it is basically speaking of material things and how you should really go about getting them, and you're not supposed to worry. And in verses 6, obviously Matthew 6 tells you how you should really go about it, that you should go in the secret place, and your fathers in the secret place would hear you and so on, and that you must close your door. And many people believe that the closet is someplace in their house, but it's a place in this house, okay, teaching you that you must go in, close your eyes. When you close your eyes, you're closing the doorway, because your eyes is the doorway to your soul, and shutting out this wall, right, of matter, and you're going into the wall of spirit, because you want to bring something from the wall of spirit into matter. So he says when you seek to find the kingdom, it is teaching you that when you seek to know yourself first, because remember, the kingdom is within you. Luke 17:21 tells you that the kingdom is within you. So you have to be looking within. And when you find that secret within you, you will find the secret of creation. That's what it's basically telling you. You will find the secret of creation. So it's saying that the secret of creation is in you, but you have to seek after it first. Now, I was very fortunate as a little boy to ask myself, who am I? Not much people would have done that at a very young age. And I've held to it. And it took me 45 years before I come to get the answer of who am I. And that's why I did a video called The Universal Question of Life is who am I? And when the answer comes, it must be I am. And I always say to you, the I am that I am means I am whatever I believe myself to be. For as a man thinketh in his heart, so is he. So the kingdom is within, and when you seek to know who you are first, because the kingdom is within you, and it's the kingdom of your mind it is speaking about, right? That you will find the secret of creation, that it is your own thoughts that is creating your reality, and that you can actually create your reality consciously. You see, how do I know I found God? Is there anything I should be doing? Yes. You should be using your imagination for that which you desire. Write down what you desire first. You must know what you want, and you must know the reason why you want it. Your intention must be right. Always seek to do things to uplift humanity, right? Always do things by seeing that true value have to do with your mind, your mindset. and always see you doing things to help others instead of making money. So when you do things to help others, it will bring back to you. It's a law. Give and it will come back to you. Okay? So use your gift, use your talent. You want more value in your life, give more value. It's as simple as that. Okay? If a person want to make like more money, they have to give more value to gain more money. Okay, so my brother Matthew 6:33 is telling you, seek to know yourself first. And when you get to know yourself, you will discover the secret of creation also, and you'll be able to create your reality consciously. Okay, I think I want to come down to very close to a close. Okay, but let me just read on these rest comments. Say, I never believe either or working hard. Okay, and undoing. Yes, I never believe in working so hard. I believe in more thinking, because one idea can make you rich. One idea can make you rich. But sometimes people go about telling others their ideas instead of you keep your idea to yourself. Don't go around telling people your idea. Don't go around telling people your ambition and what you want to do. Keep it to yourself. And then you might find the relevant people who would help you to make it a reality. But trust your imagination. Always trust your imagination. Okay? Universal reality. Greetings, my brother. What caused an individual not to create their reality consciously according to the Bible? Psychologically, I'm a cheerful giver. Bless a prophet, receive a prophet reward. There's a scripture that says that when you receive a prophet in the name of a prophet, and when you give to a prophet, that you will get a prophet reward. Now, let us look at a prophet, okay? Now, when someone is teaching you how to create your reality consciously, they're teaching you of things before they come to pass. And they're teaching you how to basically discover your prophetic self, okay? Because when you put something on paper, or you just speak something, or just assume something, but you get enough knowledge from someone of how the mind works, and you see that happen in your life for real, you know that is the fulfillment of a prophecy. You know your vision has become a reality, and you realize that if you could see it in your mind's eye, that you can hold it in your hand, you would be so grateful of that you would want to give anything to someone who would show you such a secret. Because what we are looking for is to solve problems in our life. Whenever you read about the Christ, you see that the Christ was solving problems. You had problem of sickness, he was solving that. You had problem of poverty, he was solving that. It's teaching you all about that self of you, that higher self, that Christ self. So when someone is teaching you to find that, because they're teaching you to look within, they're teaching you to discover yourself. That is what the Bible is referring to when you say a person is basically a prophet. So basically, all of us are prophets. So a real prophet will teach you how to discover your prophetic self. So all of these preachers who point you to believe in a God outside of yourself and having you believe in a power outside of yourself, and they calling themselves prophet, don't argue with them. But a real prophet gonna point you to look within yourself, to find your true self. And that's our true shepherd, because the shepherd will always take care of the sheep first, not take care of himself first. And when you look around and you see all of these tele-evangelists, they're taking care of themselves first. And let me just say this because I want to come to a close, okay, very soon. There are people who have commented here and say, look, what you're teaching it work. I remember early on my brother McLaughlin, Ewan McLaughlin, he commented and said it worked. And I remember when he reached out to me and told me how it worked, and he booked about 3 roles for a movie, and then he booked another 3 roles again after just listening to what I was teaching, just put it to work. So now when people feed themselves with so much knowledge, become so intellectual. Sometimes these people have most problems with manifesting. I find sometimes when people have no much, they're willing to do the thing and they will just forget about it. And it just work for them. I know of a guy who reached out to me and he wanted a Siamese cat. I never even knew what was a Siamese cat before. So I'm gonna look up and say, why is a Siamese cat? I said, oh, because I love cat too. I said, I love these kind of cat. I never had this kind of breed of cat because they don't have them around here in the Caribbean for sure. And I see the Siamese cat, I love the Siamese cat. I reached back out to him and I told him what he should do and so on, and he listened. Okay? And at the same time I was doing the 153 challenge thing and so on, he had joined the Facebook group. And he went and he bought cat feed. He didn't have any cat, he bought cat feed. And then he said he saw a strange cat around the compound which he never seen before. And he started feeding that cat with the cat food. And then he saw an ad, I think in the paper, of a shelter was offering a Siamese cat. And he had no papers. He had absolutely no papers, like from his apartment and so on, based on what he tell me and so on. You have to have some sort of paper to prove that it is legal or something like that to have like the cat and the compound or animal. Okay? You people will know what I'm talking about because you don't have this kind of thing down in the Caribbean. You know what I'm talking about. So he didn't have no papers for that, and he was supposed to carry a paper at the shelter too, and he didn't really have that. And he went and they didn't ask, and he got the Siamese cat. He even sent a picture of the Siamese cat for me. And that was someone who didn't even know much about law of attraction. He didn't know much about these things. And he just do the act, he just follow, and he just do it, and it happened, and he had the Siamese cat. No, there's no one who can convince him that he didn't use his imagination to get his white Siamese cat. And when I went and checked out Siamese cat on the internet, I fell in love with the white ones. So it do work. But sometimes you might teach 100 people and you might only work for 15. Believe you me. Because sometimes some people have too much of doubts. They have too much of fears. And sometimes they're too concerned. Let me see. Oh, yeah. I've been reminded too of Angela, right? Who's on the chat too, who have given me our testimony also, who use her imagination and get good results. So it do work. But you have to believe strongly enough that imagination do create reality. Okay? So, okay, and it work. Oh, I wasn't seeing this on me. I was going to have a conversation with the flower. Okay, good for you. And it's work. Okay, and it works. That's how I got my job. Yeah, remember my testimony video. Thank you very much, Angela, for that reminder. Okay, because I wasn't seeing these comments down below. Okay, so the people who it will work for, and there are people who would be doubtful. Okay, and they would make all different kind of comment. Okay, and now I am in a upscale apartment with a lot of rich people. You see, so their testimony right here that people can testify. You see, some people it doesn't work for them and they will become a doubter. You're told not to just be a hearer, but to be a doer. When you start to doubt and you start to say certain things, you create that certain reality in your life. Because it's going to be harder for you when you doubt. Don't ever doubt. If you do if someone is teaching you something and out of 100 people, there's none that was successful with it, then you can say, well, it's a sham. You can say it's fake. But if it worked for one person, I work for 2 persons, and it worked for 3 persons, I work for 4 persons, you have to ask yourself, what am I doing that is not supposed to be done? You have to blame yourself. Don't blame the process. Angela said, that's why I've been so quiet. You see, when you know something works, you don't have to prove anything to anyone. Because it works. I know it works. I know imagination to create reality. I know consciousness is the only reality there is. I know everything in this world. It was first imagined. It was first an idea. It was first a thought. Everything that we benefit upon in this earth, it comes that way. So I know imagination has to be the creator. It can't be anything else. That's the creator himself. That's how we know that there is a creator, when we create. You can't know no other how. This is not based on belief. This is practical. That is why 2 Corinthians 13:5 says, examine yourself, check your own self, because your problem is the self. And then it says to you, don't you know your own self? That Christ is in you? It actually says, I omit Jesus out of my Bible. It says, Jesus Christ is in you. Showing you the power. The power is in you. It's all about yourself. So if it doesn't work for you, it is because you have to blame yourself. You can't blame the process. You can't blame the law. The law works. It's a law. So let me say, I want to thank everyone who have tuned in, and I want to thank those who have given their testimony, and I hope that their testimony would be digested by those who are on their way to see their manifestation coming to fruition, their imagination, right, create their reality and see the things that they're imagining, it comes to fruition. I hope that will help to build your faith. It will help to encourage you. And as time go by and we continue to teach this truth, more and more people are going to come up with their testimony. I remember when I saw this chair that I'm sitting here in a window, just the giant, actually, it was just the picture. I desired to have it. I wasn't long if I have it and sitting here. Because I was sitting in an old plastic chair, and sometimes on the tiles it gets smooth, sometimes I sink down and could fall over and all that, and I said I want a chair. And I went on YouTube and checked out all of these chairs that the YouTubers have, and I realized it would be too costly because it can't break down and fit up to bring it from overseas and how much it weighs and so on. I realized is if you live in America, you could probably order one to another state and so on. I realized what you can't get one over here, and I had a desire, then I saw this. And I used to walk that area for so long, and I never realized that it was making this kind of chair. And I see it, and I desire it, and boom. So in this world, you will always have doubters. You will always have them. It will always be around, okay? Because there must be balance. And there are those who have faith. Faith is you having a firm understanding of how everything that you see that is visible, it came from the invisible, and you understand that everything is mental. You understand that a thought is a vibrational frequency. So when a person make a comment, a person say something, it's a vibrational frequency, and it's gonna return back to you. That's why Isaiah, I think 55:11 says that my words will not return unto me void, but it accomplish that which I send it to, and prosper anything where I send it. And it happens in the opposite also. So if you send out negative vibes, you're gonna get negative results. If you send out positive vibes, you're gonna get positive results. It's as plain as simple as that. You plant corn, you will reap corn. You plant watermelon, you will reap watermelon. But let me say this: if you've been using imagination and you see that nothing is happening, do not give up. Do not say anything negative. Keep believing. Because sometimes when you let go and you give up, is when things start happening. And you say, oh my, I was holding on all the time. And I was having a psychological abortion. I was having a spiritual abortion. It's when I let go and I give up, things happen. It's like that. Can we manifest our ideal body and fitness with imagination? Yes, I do it all the time. I was trained, for years, I train once a week. The last gym I work at, when I leave that gym to follow my desire of discovering my spiritual self, and I told the gym owner, he was very highly annoyed because he knew he was losing his best trainer. And I was the only one who had a certificate that he could have put the certificate out on his bulletin board, and anyone could see I was certified. And I used to do that for people without even charging them money. Okay? And he was real, pissed with me. And he used to always brag to others that I just only train once a week. He said only Saturdays alone. I just train, and I look better than half of the guys who's half my age in the gym. And he used to wonder how is it I used to do it, train once a week. But the thing is, I love the mirror. So I used to always go in the mirror and flex. And when I flexed, I was even unconscious, I was using my imagination how I want to see my body. So it's not like if it's just gonna happen like that, but it will give you the drive of what to eat. It will give you the drive to do a little research, and your intuition will lead you into things that you will hear or things you will read that will help to educate you more and more and more and more. That's how I educate myself with fitness and so on, because I had the desire to imagine myself look a certain way. Since COVID, I have never gone to a gym. I only do push-ups and so on and home. And I still look real good. I look better than many people who go gym every day, and guys who are twice their age. And I'm just doing push-ups and so on, using calisthenics, just using my body weight. As a matter of fact, I plan to do some fitness for people who follow me too. Okay, very soon. I actually don't do the channel, but I haven't done no video yet. I do exercise. I will do exercise for the female, and I will do exercise for the male too, and show you simple. Right at home, you don't have to join the gym or anything. I can show you how to do your dieting. I can show you how to do your diet and everything. And show you how simple it is. Okay, because I wanna come to a close. I don't wanna go more than an hour and a half. Universal reality. I love the video song "Never Give Up" on YouTube. So yeah, that's a good song. I think I would have shared. I wonder if that's the song I would have shared with Universal Reality. Because I remember I would have shared a song with him. He shared a song with me. I think I would share a song one time with him also. But I think what he's saying, that's a good song for anyone to listen, because some people give up too easily. Every time I affirm, I say my words will not return unto me void. It really works for me, manifesting consciously. Yes, you have to always do that. Realize that your words will never return unto your void, because remember, a word is a thought express. Okay, and everything you see, okay, is the expression of people's imagination, is the expression of thought. Okay, everything you see Elon Musk has is just the expression of what he was imagining. It depends on so much money. Beware that you're ultimately building your body with spirit. If it's a healthy spirit, there shall be a problem building it strong. Have you read the Kybalion and the Emerald Tablet? I would have listened some of the Kybalion, the Emerald Tablet. I listened some of it. I haven't listened all of it, but I listened some already. Okay, concerning the laws of the universe, the laws that governs the universe, and the laws that governs humanity and so on. Yes, I did. I listened it before. Okay.
If there is no more question.
If there is no more question, I think I'll have to come to an end here, because I don't want to go beyond an hour and a half. I think that's good time. Okay, and I want you to, regurgitate on what was spoken and so on. And if you listen to me and you've been really trying hard and things seem not to be working, I just want to say to you, just continue to be patient and relax. Sometimes just let it go. Let it go. You know what I mean? And sometimes, you can't use your imagination and just be waiting on the thing to happen. No, continue using imagination on other things. You can never run out of things that you need in this life. You can never run out. Your goals in the gym supposed to be so big that you can live a lifetime and you haven't even fully completed. That's how it's supposed to be. Okay? So you always have desire. So with that being said, my brother and my sister, I want to thank you all very much for joining this chat and being a part of this chat. I couldn't do it without you. I want to say how much it means to me to have you guys joining me. I want to say peace, love you all, and out.